In a distant age, when giants roamed the earth and the divine mingled with the mortal, there existed a hidden realm where the Nephilim, the offspring of gods and men, thrived. This tale, long shrouded in mystery, reveals the shocking truths of how these colossal beings survived the Great Flood, guided by the wisdom of Moses. As the heavens prepared to unleash chaos, the giants faced a choice that would determine their legacy, forever altering the fate of both their kind and humanity. In a secluded valley, surrounded by mountains that kissed the sky, the Nephilim gathered. They were a formidable race, towering above men, with strength that could move mountains and hearts burdened by the weight of their existence. Among them stood Goliath, the elder, revered for his wisdom and leadership. "Brothers and sisters," Goliath's voice echoed, commanding attention. "The signs are upon us. The skies darken and the earth trembles beneath our feet. We cannot ignore the warnings any longer. The flood is coming." A murmur of disbelief coursed through the crowd. Giant One, youthful and brash, stepped forward, skepticism etched on his face. "What if it is a trick? We are powerful. We need not fear mere storms." Goliath's gaze was unwavering. "It is not mere storms we face. This is a reckoning, a chance to choose our fate. We can perish as monsters or survive as guardians of our legacy." The assembly split into factions, some advocating for aggression, others seeking a path of caution. Giant Two, fiery and ambitious, shouted, "Why should we bow to the will of the heavens? Let us take what we desire. We shall conquer the flood and emerge as kings." "Conquer?" Goliath countered, his voice rising above the clamor. "There is no victory in destruction. We must find a way to coexist with the world we've come to dominate. Otherwise, we risk losing everything." Realizing the gravity of the situation, Goliath proposed a daring plan. "Let us seek the ancient spirits for guidance. They hold the wisdom of ages past. Only they can show us the path to survival." Under a moonlit sky, the giants embarked on a pilgrimage to a sacred grove, a place where the magic of the earth thrived. As they arrived, the air shimmered with energy, and the spirits materialized, ethereal and glowing. "Giants of old," the spirit of the earth intoned, its voice resonating like a distant storm. "Your fate intertwines with the fate of the world. The flood draws near, a cleansing of the earth. You must choose, adapt or be washed away." Goliath stepped forward, determination etched on his face. "No, this cannot be our end. There must be a way to survive." The spirits nodded solemnly. "Create a sanctuary, a vessel to hold the essence of life. Protect what matters most, and you shall endure." With newfound resolve, the giants returned to their valley, inspired and determined to take action. They gathered resources, brainstorming how to construct a sanctuary that could withstand the impending flood. Days turned to weeks as the giants worked tirelessly. They gathered enchanted wood from the sacred grove and stones imbued with ancient magic. Goliath led the efforts, his strength and wisdom guiding the others. "How can we possibly build something that will withstand the flood?" Giant Three questioned, doubt creeping into his voice. "We are strong, but this is beyond us." "Strength alone will not save us," Goliath replied, his eyes fierce with conviction. "We must harness the magic of the earth, the very essence of life. Combine our might with ancient knowledge, and we shall create a fortress." As the ark began to take shape, Giant Four marveled at their creation. "Look at our creation. It is a marvel, but will it be enough? We must fill it with life, seeds, animals, and knowledge," Goliath insisted. "This ark will be our legacy." Giant Five, curious about the fate of humanity, asked, "Do you think the humans will come for help? They need us as much as we need them." "Perhaps," Goliath replied, "but we must focus on our survival first. The flood does not discriminate between giants and men." Giant Six, with a frown, added, What if the humans see us as threats? They may not trust us. Goliath nodded. That is a risk we must be prepared to take. But we cannot let fear dictate our actions. We must show them that we are not their enemies. With the ark nearly complete, a sense of urgency filled the air. The giants raced against time, collecting animals 2 by 2, ensuring that every creature would have a place in their sanctuary. "Do you think we will survive?" Giant 7 asked nervously as they loaded the last of the provisions. "We must," Goliath reassured him. "We have prepared for this moment. We are the guardians of life." As dark clouds began to gather on the horizon, the giants felt a chill run through the valley. They knew the storm was imminent, and the time for action was drawing near. "Hold steady!" Goliath shouted as the winds began to whip through the valley. "We must not let despair take us. We are the guardians of life." But fear took hold of some giants. Giant 8, his eyes wide with panic, exclaimed, "Why should we endure this? We are giants. We should be conquering, not hiding." "Listen to reason," Goliath urged. "This is not a battle we can win with brute strength alone. We must unite. Our survival depends on it." As the floodwaters began to rise, the giants secured the last of the animals and provisions. The sky darkened, and the first drops of rain fell like daggers from the heavens. "It's here! The flood! To the ark!" Giant 9 cried out, his voice barely audible over the rising winds. The giants scrambled to board the ark, their hearts pounding with fear and anticipation. As the waters surged around them, Goliath held steadfast, rallying his people. "We have survived, but at what cost?" Goliath said, looking out at the chaos surrounding them. "The world we knew is gone." As the storm raged on, the giants faced their greatest challenge. The ark swayed violently, and the tumultuous waves threatened to engulf them. "Fear not," Goliath bellowed, his voice cutting through the storm. "We will endure. We are the legacy of the giants." Days turned into nights as the flood persisted. The ark tossed about like a leaf in a storm. The giants worked tirelessly to keep it steady, using their collective strength to navigate the tumultuous waters. "Why should we endure this?" Giant 10 yelled, his frustration boiling over. "We should fight back." "Fighting nature will not help us," Goliath countered. "We must adapt. Our strength lies in our unity." As the storm finally began to relent, the giants caught a glimpse of a new world emerging. The waters began to recede, exposing the ravaged land. "We have endured," Goliath whispered, relief washing over him. "But what awaits us now?" Emerging from the ark, the giants surveyed the changed landscape. The valley they had known was transformed, a stark reminder of the destruction they had faced. "What will we do now?" Giant 6 asked, his heart heavy with uncertainty. "The humans are scattered, the land is barren." "We rebuild," Goliath declared, his voice filled with resolve. "We plant the seeds of life and protect what remains. We are not just survivors, we are the legacy of the giants." As they began to restore the land, the giants encountered remnants of humanity, people struggling to survive amidst the ruins. Goliath stepped forward, extending a hand in peace. "We are not your enemies," he said, his tone gentle. "We share this world, and together we can rebuild what was lost." The humans, wary at first, began to lower their weapons. A human leader, weary but resolute, stepped forward. "If you are truly willing to help, then we can find strength in unity." Goliath smiled, sensing the shift in the air. "Together we can cultivate the land and restore the balance that has been lost." With Goliath leading the charge, the giants and humans worked side by side, planting seeds and repairing the land. Each day brought a new challenge, but together they forged an unbreakable bond. "Look at how strong the earth is when we work together," Giant 1 exclaimed, lifting a boulder to create a foundation for a new home. Giant 2, now a trusted ally of the humans, added, "We can build shelters for both our kinds. Let's create a village where we can all thrive." As the sun set on the horizon, casting a golden hue over the valley, Goliath gathered everyone for a moment of reflection. "Let us take a moment to honor those we lost. Their spirits guide us as we rebuild." The giants and humans bowed their heads, honoring the memory of those who perished in the flood. In that moment of silence, a sense of unity enveloped them, binding their fates together. Goliath spoke again, lifting his head. "We must remember that our strength lies in our unity. We must protect this land, nurture it, and ensure that such destruction never happens again." Months turned into years, and the valley thrived under the care of both giants and humans. Goliath, now a symbol of unity, often reminded everyone of the past. "Together we have built a new legacy, one forged in the fires of adversity and hope," he declared during a gathering. Giant 2, who had once sought conquest, now stood proudly alongside their human allies. "We have learned that true strength lies not in dominance, but in cooperation. We are stronger together." As time passed, the stories of the giants became legends, passed down through generations. Children of both giants and humans played together, forging friendships that transcended their differences. One day, a young human girl approached Goliath, her eyes sparkling with curiosity. "Will we always be friends, giants and humans?" Goliath knelt down, a gentle smile on his face. "As long as we remember our past and stand together, we will always be friends." The villagers celebrated their successes, sharing stories around the fire at night, reinforcing the bonds between them. "Tell us the story of the flood again," a child exclaimed, eyes wide with wonder. Goliath began, "Once we faced a great storm that threatened to wipe us from existence. But through courage, unity, and the wisdom of the spirits, we built an ark and survived." As he spoke, the younger generations listened with rapt attention, the legacy of the giants becoming an integral part of their culture. However, not all was harmonious. As time passed, tensions began to surface. Some humans questioned their reliance on the giants, while a faction of giants felt they were too powerful to share their strength. "We should be leading," Giant 3 argued one day. "Why should we bow to mere mortals? We are the descendants of gods." Goliath responded, his tone firm but calm. "Power without wisdom is a path to destruction. We must remember the lessons of the flood. Our strength is a gift, not a weapon." "But what if they turn on us?" Giant 4 countered. "What if the humans betray us?" "They have much to lose as well," Goliath replied. "We must work together to build trust. It is the only way forward." The discussions grew heated, and divisions began to form. Goliath knew he had to act quickly to prevent a fracture that could lead to chaos. To test their unity, Goliath proposed a challenge. "Let us hold a festival, a celebration of our bond. We will work together to build something grand, a monument to our shared history." The proposal was met with mixed reactions, but Goliath's charisma prevailed. The festival was set, and preparations began. As the day approached, excitement filled the air. Humans and giants worked side by side, gathering materials and crafting decorations. The day of the festival dawned, bright and vibrant. During the festival, games were held, stories shared, and laughter echoed throughout the valley. Goliath watched as giants and humans competed in friendly contests, their spirits lifted. In the midst of the festivities, a sudden storm rolled in, dark clouds gathering ominously. Panic spread through the crowd as they remembered the last storm. "Stay calm," Goliath shouted above the rising winds. "We will face this together, as we did before." As the storm raged, Goliath led the giants and humans to a nearby cave for shelter. They huddled together, sharing warmth and comfort as the winds howled outside. Inside the cave, Goliath spoke to the gathered crowd. "This storm is a reminder of our past. We survived before, and we will survive again, together." The humans nodded, and the giants stood tall, their resolve strengthening. As the storm passed, they emerged to find the valley transformed, yet still beautiful. Goliath smiled, feeling the bond between the giants and humans solidified through the shared experience. "Let us build a monument to commemorate our unity, a place where our stories can be shared for generations." They worked together tirelessly, creating a towering structure made of stone and wood, decorated with symbols of their journey. As they completed the monument, a sense of pride washed over them. "It stands as a testament to our strength and unity," Goliath proclaimed. "Let it remind us of what we can achieve together." Years passed, and the valley flourished. The monument stood tall, a beacon of hope and unity. Goliath, now a revered elder, watched as the next generation thrived. One day, a young giant approached him, filled with questions. "What happens if another storm comes? Will we be ready?" Goliath knelt beside the young one. "We will always be ready, for we have learned that strength lies not just in power, but in our bonds with one another. We will face every challenge together." As the sun set, painting the sky with hues of orange and pink, Goliath looked toward the horizon, proud of the legacy they had built. The giants and humans had become one community, their stories intertwined forever. Through unity, they had triumphed over the flood, and their legacy would endure, echoing through the ages. However, peace was not meant to last. As the seasons changed, whispers of a new threat reached the valley. A band of fierce warriors from a distant land sought to claim the valley for themselves, believing that the giants held untold treasures. "Prepare for battle," cried the leader of the invaders, a fierce warrior named Kyle. "These giants are but relics of a forgotten age. We shall take their land and bend them to our will." Goliath, sensing the tension, called a meeting. "We must not let fear dictate our actions. We need to understand our enemy. We cannot fight without knowing what we stand to protect." Giant 3, who had previously expressed the desire for dominance, now questioned Goliath's wisdom. "What if they come for blood? We cannot sit idly by while our home is threatened." Goliath replied, "First, we will seek to understand their motives. If war is unavoidable, we will stand united." Goliath proposed a delegation to approach Kale and his warriors. "Let us offer them a chance to negotiate. We will show them our strength not through violence, but through wisdom." Giant 2 volunteered to accompany Goliath. "I will go with you. It is time we show that giants can be more than just brute force." As they approached the camp of the invaders, Goliath and Giant 2 were met with suspicion. Kale stepped forward, his eyes narrowed. "What do you want, giants? Come to beg for mercy?" Goliath stood tall, his voice steady. "We come in peace, seeking to understand why you have come to our land. There is much we can offer each other." Kale crossed his arms, intrigued but wary. "We seek resources to survive. Your land is rich, and we are prepared to fight for it." "Fighting will bring destruction to both our peoples," Goliath replied. "Let us find a way to coexist. We can share our resources, and together we can thrive." The two parties engaged in a tense negotiation, with both sides expressing their fears and desires. Goliath spoke earnestly about the importance of unity and cooperation. "Look around you," he urged. "The flood taught us the value of working together. We can learn from each other's strengths and create a prosperous future." Kyle listened, torn between his warrior instincts and the wisdom of Goliath's words. "And what guarantees do we have that you won't betray us?" Goliath extended his hand. "Let our actions speak for us." Trust is built through deeds, not words. We can start by sharing our knowledge of the land. After hours of discussion, a hesitant truce was reached. Kyle agreed to a temporary alliance, and both sides began to explore ways to share resources. As the alliance formed, Goliath and Kyle worked together to establish a new council that included both giants and humans. They began to share knowledge, learning from each other's strengths. Giant 2 became a liaison, helping to bridge the gap between the two communities. We can teach you our agricultural methods, and in return, you can share your skills in combat and defense, he suggested during a council meeting. Kyle nodded, realizing the potential in collaboration. We can learn from each other. Together, we can create a stronger community. As the weeks passed, both sides began to trust one another. The humans learned the ways of the giants, while the giants gained insights into human craftsmanship and strategy. To celebrate their newfound alliance, Goliath proposed a festival of unity, where giants and humans would come together to share their cultures, foods, and traditions. "Let us showcase our strengths and celebrate our differences," Goliath announced during a council meeting. "This festival will symbolize our commitment to one another." Preparations for the festival began in earnest. The valley buzzed with excitement as both communities decorated their homes and gathered supplies for the festivities. On the day of the festival, laughter filled the air. Music resonated through the valley, and the aroma of delicious food wafted from every corner. During the festivities, Goliath watched as children from both sides played together, their laughter echoing through the valley. He felt a warmth in his heart, knowing that the legacy of unity was being passed down to the next generation. As the sun dipped below the horizon, the festival began in earnest. Goliath took to the center stage, addressing the crowd. "Today, we celebrate not just our survival, but our unity," he proclaimed. "Together, we have overcome great challenges, and together, we will forge a brighter future." The crowd erupted in cheers, a mix of giants and humans standing side by side. Music filled the air as they danced together, celebrating their shared journey. Throughout the night, stories were exchanged, laughter echoed, and bonds were strengthened. Goliath felt a sense of peace, knowing that their combined strength would protect the valley from any future threats. However, not everyone was pleased with the alliance. A faction of warriors within Kyle's camp felt betrayed by their leader's willingness to work with giants. They plotted to undermine the truce. "Those giants will never be our friends," one warrior hissed. "We must show them the strength of our blades." As tensions simmered beneath the surface, Goliath remained vigilant. He sensed that not all was well, and he knew he had to tread carefully. As the festival continued, whispers of dissent grew louder. The rogue warriors began to rally others, inciting fear and distrust among the humans. "Why are we sharing our land with these beasts?" one warrior exclaimed during a clandestine meeting. "They will turn on us the moment we let our guard down." Kyle, caught between loyalty to his people and the wisdom of Goliath, tried to mediate. "We have made progress. We must not let fear dictate our actions." But the dissenters were relentless, and tensions began to escalate. The festival was meant to celebrate unity, but the undercurrents of mistrust threatened to unravel their hard-earned alliance. Sensing the rising tension, Goliath called an emergency council meeting. "We must address the fears of our people," he urged. "We cannot allow distrust to fester." Kyle nodded, his expression grave. "Many of my warriors are uneasy. They fear that the giants will betray us. We need to show them our strength and commitment to this alliance." Goliath agreed. "A demonstration of our unity may help quell their fears. Let us hold a joint training session, showcasing our abilities side by side." As they planned the training session, Goliath felt a mix of hope and apprehension. He knew that the path to true unity would not be easy, but he was determined to forge ahead. The day of the joint training session arrived, and giants and humans gathered in a designated area. Goliath and Kyle stood at the front, ready to demonstrate their combined skills. "Today, we will show our people that together we are stronger," Goliath announced. "We will train side by side, learning from each other's strengths." The giants showcased their immense strength, lifting heavy boulders and demonstrating their agility despite their size. The humans displayed their combat skills, executing precise movements and strategies. As they trained together, laughter and camaraderie began to replace tension. The onlookers were captivated by the display of unity, and some of the dissenters began to reconsider their stance. As the joint training session continued, Goliath noticed a shift in the atmosphere. The once skeptical warriors began to see the value in cooperation. One warrior stepped forward, his expression softening. "Perhaps we have misjudged you, giants. Your strength can protect us, and together we can face any threat." Kale smiled, sensing the change in his people. "Let us forge an unbreakable bond. We are stronger together." As the day progressed, friendships blossomed. Giants and humans exchanged stories, laughter, and a newfound respect for one another. However, just as harmony seemed attainable, the rogue faction grew bolder. They plotted to sabotage the alliance, convinced that violence was the only path to securing their power. "Tonight, we strike while they are vulnerable," the leader of the dissenters declared. "We will show them that we will not be ruled by giants." As darkness fell, they prepared to attack, seeking to sow chaos and fear among the newly united communities. Under the cover of night, the rogue warriors launched their attack. They struck swiftly, aiming to catch the giants and humans off guard during a celebration of their newfound unity. Goliath and Kale, feeling the tension in the air, quickly rallied their people. "We must defend our home," Goliath shouted, his voice booming through the night. As the two sides clashed, chaos erupted. Goliath fought valiantly, using his strength to protect his allies. Kyle rallied his warriors, urging them to stand united against the threat. Amidst the battle, Goliath locked eyes with the leader of the dissenters. "This is not the way. We can find peace. We can be stronger together." The leader scoffed, swinging his weapon with fury. "Peace is a lie. We will take what is ours by force." The clash intensified as giants and humans fought side by side against the rogue warriors. Goliath fought with unmatched strength, using his size to shield those around him from harm. "Stay together!" he bellowed, rallying his allies. "We must protect our home and the bonds we have forged." Kyle fought valiantly, his skill in combat evident as he led his warriors against the dissenters. "This is our home. We will not let fear tear us apart." As the battle raged on, Goliath realized that the dissenters were driven by fear and misunderstanding. He knew he had to reach them before it was too late. In the midst of the chaos, Goliath charged toward the leader of the dissenters. "Stop! This isn't the way. We can talk this out." The leader paused, confusion flickering in his eyes. "Why should I listen to you? You're just a giant." Goliath lowered his weapon, his voice steady and calm. "Because we are all part of this land. We can either destroy each other or find a way to coexist. Look around you. This fighting only brings pain and suffering." His words struck a chord, and for a moment the leader hesitated. He glanced at the faces of his fellow warriors, their expressions a mix of fear and uncertainty. Goliath seized the moment. "Join us. We have faced destruction together, and we can rise from this as one. We must not let fear dictate our actions." As the battle continued to rage, some warriors began to lower their weapons, their resolve wavering. They started to question their motives, seeing the truth in Goliath's words. Kyle, sensing the shift, rallied his people. We can choose unity over division. Together, we can create a future free from fear. The tide began to turn as more warriors joined Goliath's side, realizing that their strength lay in cooperation, not conflict. As the last of the dissenters surrendered, Goliath felt a wave of relief wash over him. The battle had been fierce, but they had emerged victorious, not just in the fight, but in their commitment to unity. "Let this be a lesson to us all," Goliath addressed the crowd, his voice steady. "We must remember that our strength lies in our bonds with one another. We cannot let fear tear us apart." As the sun began to rise, bathing the valley in golden light, the giants and humans stood side by side, united in their shared purpose. Kyle stepped forward, his expression earnest. "We will rebuild from this. Together we will create a future where our children can thrive without fear." In the days that followed, the community worked together to heal the wounds left by the battle. The giants and humans restored the damage done to their homes, learning from one another in the process. Goliath and Kyle led the efforts, emphasizing the importance of cooperation. "Let us turn this tragedy into an opportunity to grow stronger," Goliath encouraged. As they rebuilt, the bonds between giants and humans deepened. They shared stories of their struggles and triumphs, celebrating their shared heritage. With time, the valley flourished once more. The monument erected to commemorate their unity stood tall, a symbol of their resilience and commitment to one another. Goliath watched as children played together, their laughter echoing through the valley. He felt a sense of fulfillment, knowing that their legacy would endure. One day, as Goliath sat with Kyle, he reflected on their journey. "We have come so far. Our unity is our greatest strength." Kyle nodded. "And it will continue to be. We will face whatever comes next together." As the seasons changed, the valley thrived, a testament to the power of unity in the face of adversity. However, as the valley prospered, Goliath felt a stirring within him. He sensed that their story was not yet complete. There were still mysteries to explore and adventures to be had. "Kyle," Goliath said one evening, "I feel a call to venture beyond our valley. There are stories yet to be uncovered and wisdom still to be gained." Kyle looked intrigued. "You mean to leave our home? What if something happens while you're gone?" Goliath reassured him. "I will not go alone. I will take a small group of trusted giants and humans. Together we can explore the world beyond our valley." As Goliath gathered volunteers for the journey, excitement filled the air. Many were eager to explore unknown lands and learn from other communities. The day of departure arrived, and the valley buzzed with anticipation. Goliath led a small group, including Giant 2, whose skills in diplomacy would prove invaluable. Kyle chose to stay behind to help maintain peace in the valley. "Be safe, my friend," Kyle said, clasping Goliath's arm. "Return with stories and knowledge to share." Goliath nodded, determination in his heart. "I promise to return with tales of our world beyond." As they set off, the group ventured into uncharted territories, their spirits high and hearts eager for discovery. As they traveled, Goliath and his companions encountered various communities, each with its own customs and traditions. Some were welcoming, while others were wary of the giants. In one village, Goliath spoke to the elders, sharing stories of their journey and the alliance forged in their valley. "We seek to learn from you and share our experiences," he explained. The elders listened intently, intrigued by the giants' commitment to unity. They welcomed Goliath and his companions, eager to share their wisdom in return. During their travels, Goliath and his companions learned valuable lessons from each community they encountered. They discovered new agricultural techniques, advanced craftsmanship, and unique cultural practices. Giant 2 thrived in the role of diplomat, forging connections and friendships with the locals. "Together we can create a network of support," he suggested during discussions. As they traveled, Goliath felt a sense of purpose growing within him. He knew that the knowledge gained from these encounters would strengthen the bonds of unity in their valley. However, as they journeyed deeper into unfamiliar lands, Goliath sensed a growing darkness. Whispers of an ancient threat echoed through the wind, tales of a powerful being bent on reclaiming the lands once ruled by giants. "We must be cautious," Goliath warned his companions. "The world is not as peaceful as it seems." As they continued their journey, the sense of unease grew, and Goliath knew that they would soon face their greatest challenge yet. One evening, as they sat around a campfire, Goliath shared his concerns with his companions. "We must prepare for the possibility of conflict. If this ancient threat is real, we need to be ready to defend our home." Giant 2 nodded, his expression serious. "We should gather allies from the communities we visited. Together, we can stand against this darkness." With renewed determination, Goliath and his companions set out to rally support from the communities they had encountered. They would need every ally they could muster for the impending battle. As word spread of the ancient threat, communities began to rally behind Goliath and his companions. Giants, humans, and other beings united, recognizing the strength in their diversity. Goliath stood before a gathering of allies, his voice strong. "We face a common enemy. Together we can protect our homes and ensure the safety of future generations." The allies pledged their commitment, understanding that their unity was their greatest weapon against the encroaching darkness. With their allies gathered, Goliath and his companions began preparations for the impending conflict. Training sessions were held, strategies discussed, and alliances solidified. Kyle, who had remained in the valley, coordinated the efforts, ensuring that everyone was ready for battle. "We will not fight alone," he declared. "We will fight as one." As the day of reckoning approached, Goliath felt a mix of anxiety and determination. He knew that they were fighting not just for their homes, but for the legacy of unity they had built. The day of the battle arrived, and the Allied forces gathered at the edge of the valley, ready to face the ancient threat. Goliath stood at the forefront, flanked by Kale and Giant 2. As the enemy approached, a figure emerged from the shadows, cloaked in darkness. The ancient being, a formidable force, surveyed the assembled warriors with disdain. "You think you can defy me?" the being bellowed, its voice echoing like thunder. "I will reclaim what is mine." Goliath stepped forward, his resolve unwavering. "We will not allow you to bring destruction upon our homes. We fight for our future." The clash between the two forces was fierce. Goliath fought valiantly, his strength unmatched as he defended his allies. Kale and Giant 2 coordinated their strategies, working together to outmaneuver the enemy. As the battle raged on, Goliath felt the weight of his people's hopes upon him. He knew that their survival depended on their unity and determination. "Stand together," Goliath shouted, rallying his allies. "We are stronger united than divided." The Allied forces fought with courage, their spirits lifted by Goliath's words. They pushed back against the darkness, refusing to let fear dictate their actions. In the midst of the chaos, Goliath spotted the ancient being preparing to unleash a powerful attack. Realizing the threat, he charged forward, determined to confront the source of the darkness. "Your reign of terror ends here," Goliath bellowed, his voice resonating with power. The ancient being turned, surprised by Goliath's bravery. "You think you can defeat me, giant?" Goliath stood tall, unwavering. "I will fight for my people, for our unity, and for our future." The battle intensified as Goliath and the ancient being clashed. Their strength reverberated through the valley, shaking the very ground beneath them. Goliath drew upon the lessons learned during his journey, channeling the power of unity into his strikes. With each blow, he fought not just for himself, but for the lives of his allies. As the battle raged on, the tide began to turn. The combined strength of giants and humans surged, their resolve unyielding in the face of darkness. In a moment of desperation, Goliath called out to his allies, "We fight together. Let our unity be our strength." The allies rallied around him, their spirits ignited by his words. They fought with renewed vigor, pushing back against the ancient being's dark magic. With one final surge of power, Goliath and his allies unleashed a united attack that overwhelmed the ancient being. The darkness shattered, dissipating into the air like smoke. As the dust settled, Goliath stood victorious, his allies surrounding him. The ancient threat had been vanquished, and the valley was saved. Kyle approached, his expression filled with gratitude. "We did it. Together, we overcame the darkness." Goliath nodded, feeling a deep sense of fulfillment. "It is a testament to our strength as a united community. We will continue to protect this land and each other." To celebrate their victory, Goliath and his allies held a grand feast. The valley buzzed with joy as giants, humans, and allies from distant lands gathered to honor their triumph. As they shared stories and laughter, the atmosphere was filled with a sense of camaraderie that transcended their differences. The aroma of roasted meats and baked goods filled the air, and music resonated throughout the valley. Goliath stood before the gathered crowd, his heart swelling with pride. "Today, we celebrate not only our victory, but the bonds we have forged. Together, we have faced darkness and emerged stronger." The crowd erupted in cheers, their voices echoing in the valley. Giant too stepped forward, addressing the assembly. "Let us remember that our strength lies in our unity. We must continue to work together, not just in times of need, but every day." As the festivities continued, children from both giants and humans played together, their laughter mingling in the air. Goliath watched with a smile, knowing that the legacy of unity would be passed down to the next generation. In the days that followed, Goliath and Kale worked tirelessly to strengthen the ties between their communities. They established a council that included representatives from both giants and humans, ensuring that every voice was heard. "We will create a future where our children can thrive," Kyle said during one council meeting. "Let us build a foundation of trust and cooperation." The council focused on sharing knowledge, resources, and skills. Giants taught humans about agriculture and the use of natural resources, while humans shared their craftsmanship and innovation. As they collaborated, the valley flourished. New structures were built, combining the strengths of both communities, and gardens bloomed with vibrant colors. Recognizing the importance of wisdom, Goliath proposed the formation of a council of elders, consisting of the wisest members from both communities. "We must ensure that the lessons learned from our past are never forgotten," he explained. The council met regularly, discussing matters of importance and providing guidance for future generations. Elders shared stories of the flood, the battles fought, and the importance of unity. As the years passed, the Council of Elders became a symbol of wisdom and cooperation, guiding the valley through both challenges and triumphs. One day, as Goliath and Kale were discussing plans for the future, a messenger arrived from the east. "There are rumors of a new community seeking your alliance," the messenger reported. "They have heard of your strength and unity." Goliath's eyes sparkled with curiosity. "We must welcome them. The more allies we have, the stronger we become." Kyle nodded in agreement. "Let's prepare to receive them. We will show them the power of our cooperation." The valley buzzed with excitement as preparations were made for the new visitors. The community decorated the fields and prepared a feast, eager to showcase their unity and hospitality. As the sun rose high in the sky, a group of travelers approached the valley. They were a diverse group consisting of both humans and beings of different sizes and shapes, each with their unique traits. Goliath stepped forward to greet them. "Welcome to our valley. We are honored to have you here." The leader of the newcomers, a tall woman with striking features, smiled warmly. "We have heard tales of your strength and unity. We seek to learn from you and join forces." Goliath extended his hand. "Together, we can create a network of support that will benefit all of our communities." The newcomers accepted the invitation, and the valley became alive with the spirit of collaboration. As they shared their knowledge, each community learned from one another, expanding their horizons. With the arrival of new allies, the valley blossomed into a crossroads of cultures. Festivals celebrated the diverse traditions and practices of each community, creating an atmosphere of joy and acceptance. Goliath marveled at the tapestry of stories being woven together. "This is what true unity looks like," he said during one festival. "We are stronger when we embrace our differences." As the festivities continued, the children of all communities played together, forming friendships that would last a lifetime. They laughed, danced, and learned from one another, embodying the spirit of cooperation. With the new alliances forming, the Council of Elders grew in importance. Elders from all communities gathered to share their wisdom and experiences, ensuring that the lessons learned from the past were passed down. During one council meeting, an elder from the newcomers spoke. "Our people have faced challenges that tested our unity. We have learned that cooperation is essential for survival." The elders exchanged stories, sharing insights that would guide their communities in times of need. Goliath listened intently, knowing that the wisdom shared would shape the future. As the years passed, the valley thrived, but Goliath sensed a growing unease in the air. Whispers of discontent began to surface among some factions of the newcomers who felt overshadowed by the giants. "Why should we follow their lead?" one newcomer voiced during a council meeting. "We have our own strengths and traditions." Goliath recognized the tension and addressed the concerns. "We are not here to overshadow anyone. Our strength lies in our collaboration, and every voice matters." Despite Goliath's reassurances, the discontent simmered beneath the surface, threatening to disrupt the unity that had been built. As tensions grew, factions began to form within the communities. Some began to question the benefits of cooperation, believing that their own strengths would be enough to thrive independently. Goliath called for an emergency council meeting, hoping to address the growing rift. "We must remember why we came together in the first place. Our unity has made us stronger," he urged. But dissenting voices rang out. "We should focus on our own communities. Why should we share our resources when we can thrive alone?" Kyle stepped forward, attempting to mediate. "We have achieved so much together. Let us not forget the lessons we learned from the flood and the battles we fought." Despite their efforts, the rift widened, and the threat of division loomed over the valley. Feeling the urgency of the situation, Goliath took it upon himself to reach out to the discontented factions. "I will travel to each community and remind them of the strength we've built together," he declared. With determination, Goliath embarked on a journey to meet with those who felt marginalized. He listened to their concerns and shared stories of their shared journey. "Together, we have weathered storms and faced darkness," Goliath said during one gathering. "Our unity is our greatest strength. We cannot allow fear to tear us apart." As he spoke, he saw the flicker of hope in their eyes. He knew that the path to reconciliation would be challenging, but he was determined to mend the rift. After weeks of travel, Goliath returned to the valley, his heart heavy with the weight of the divisions he had witnessed. However, he also felt a renewed sense of hope. During a council meeting, Goliath addressed the assembly with passion. "We must find common ground and rebuild the trust that has been lost. Our strength lies in our diversity, and we must celebrate it." With Kyle's support, Goliath proposed a series of events aimed at fostering collaboration and understanding. "Let's hold joint festivals, workshops, and training sessions where we can learn from one another." The council agreed, recognizing the need to bridge the gaps that had formed. The first event would be a festival dedicated to celebrating the unique cultures of each community. As preparations for the Festival of Cultures began, excitement filled the air. Each community prepared to showcase their traditions, foods, and stories, eager to share their heritage. On the day of the festival, the valley transformed into a vibrant tapestry of colors, sounds, and aromas. Stalls were adorned with decorations, and the air was filled with laughter. Goliath welcomed the crowd, his voice resonating with warmth. "Today, we celebrate our differences and the strength they bring to our unity. Let us honor our diverse cultures and the bonds we share." As the festival unfolded, people participated in traditional dances, shared meals, and exchanged stories. The sense of joy and camaraderie began to mend the rift that had formed. Throughout the festival, Goliath and Kyle moved among the crowd, encouraging conversations and connections. They witnessed friendships blossoming as barriers began to crumble. One young giant approached Goliath, her eyes shining. "I never knew how beautiful our differences could be. I'm glad we're celebrating together." Goliath smiled, feeling a sense of fulfillment. "It is our differences that make us strong. Together, we can create a future where everyone belongs." As the sun set, casting a warm glow over the valley, Goliath felt a renewed sense of hope. The festival had rekindled the spirit of unity, reminding everyone of the strength they shared. However, just as the valley began to heal, a new challenge emerged. A neighboring community, feeling threatened by the growing unity of giants and humans, began to plot against them. "We cannot allow them to become too powerful," the leader of the neighboring community declared. "We must strike before they can unite against us." Goliath and Kale, sensing the impending threat, called for an emergency council meeting. "We must remain vigilant," Goliath urged. "Our unity is our strongest defense." Kyle nodded, his expression serious. "We will not let fear dictate our actions. We will stand united against any threat." With the neighboring community preparing for conflict, Goliath and Kale worked tirelessly to fortify their defenses. They trained their warriors and strategized on how to face the impending danger. "We must be ready," Goliath declared during one training session. "Our unity will be our greatest weapon against those who seek to divide us." As they prepared, Goliath felt a sense of determination wash over him. They had faced challenges before, and they would face this one together. As the days passed, tension grew in the valley. Goliath and Kale continued to strengthen their alliance, ensuring that every member of their community felt valued and heard. During one meeting, Giant 2 spoke passionately. "We must show our neighbors that we are not to be underestimated. Our unity is our greatest strength." Goliath nodded in agreement. "We must stand firm, but also be open to dialogue. We will not let fear dictate our actions." As the threat loomed closer, Goliath felt a sense of urgency. He knew that their unity would be tested once more. The day of confrontation arrived, and Goliath stood at the forefront of the assembled warriors, giants and humans alike. The neighboring community approached, their intentions clear. "Prepare for battle," their leader shouted, drawing a line in the sand. "We will not allow this alliance to threaten our existence." Goliath stepped forward, his voice steady. "We do not seek war. We only wish to coexist peacefully. Let us talk before resorting to violence." The leader scoffed, his eyes narrowed. "You think we will listen to you? Your strength means nothing without fear." As tensions escalated, Goliath knew he had to act quickly to prevent bloodshed. In a moment of desperation, Goliath called upon the memories of their past struggles. "We have faced darkness together. We have learned that unity is our greatest strength." The allied warriors stood by him, echoing his sentiment. "Let us show you the power of cooperation," they shouted. The leader of the neighboring community hesitated, uncertainty flickering in his eyes. "You think your words can sway us?" Goliath stepped closer, his voice resonating with sincerity. "We do not seek to dominate. We seek to build a future where all can thrive. Join us rather than fight against us." As Goliath spoke, he saw the doubt in the eyes of the neighboring warriors. Some began to lower their weapons, realizing the futility of conflict. "Perhaps we have misjudged you," one warrior said, stepping forward. "Maybe there is strength in cooperation." The leader of the neighboring community, feeling the shift, hesitated. "What if we agree to talks? But know this, if you betray us, we will not hesitate to defend our territory." Goliath nodded, sensing the possibility of peace. "We will prove our commitment to unity. Let us discuss our differences and find a way to coexist." The two leaders agreed to meet, and a council was formed to facilitate discussions. Goliath, Cale, and the neighboring leader gathered with representatives from both communities. "We must address the fears that have led us to this point," Goliath began. "Our strength lies in our unity, and together we can create a future where all can thrive." As discussions unfolded, both sides shared their concerns and desires. The neighboring community expressed their fears of being overshadowed, while Goliath emphasized the importance of cooperation. Over time, the atmosphere shifted from one of hostility to understanding. They began to see the potential for collaboration, recognizing that their differences could enhance their strengths. With each meeting, trust began to grow. The leaders established joint initiatives that benefited both communities, showcasing the power of collaboration. Goliath and Cale worked tirelessly to ensure that every voice was heard, fostering an environment of acceptance. They organized shared projects, such as rebuilding infrastructure and creating communal gardens. As they worked side by side, relationships blossomed. The neighboring community began to see the value in cooperation, and fears slowly dissipated. To celebrate their newfound alliance, Goliath proposed a festival of new beginnings. "Let us showcase our unity and the strength that comes from cooperation," he urged. The preparations began, and excitement filled the air. The festival would be a celebration of their shared journey and a testament to the power of unity. On the day of the festival, the valley transformed into a vibrant tapestry of colors, sounds, and aromas. Each community showcased their traditions, creating a beautiful blend of cultures. As the festivities unfolded, Goliath felt a sense of fulfillment. The once fractured relationships had transformed into strong bonds, and the valley thrived as a symbol of unity. As the sun set on the festival, Goliath stood before the gathered crowd, filled with gratitude. "Today we celebrate not just our victory over adversity, but the bonds we have forged. Together, we have created a legacy of unity that will endure for generations." The crowd erupted in cheers, their voices echoing through the valley. Goliath felt a deep sense of pride, knowing that they had overcome challenges through cooperation and understanding. As the festivities continued, children played together, laughter and joy filling the air. Goliath watched with a smile, knowing that their legacy of unity would be passed down to future generations. With the festival marking a new beginning, Goliath and Cale continued to work together, ensuring that the bonds of unity remained strong. They established programs for education, cultural exchange, and community development. The valley flourished, becoming a beacon of hope and cooperation. Goliath felt a sense of fulfillment, knowing that their journey had brought them to this point. As he walked through the valley, Goliath reflected on the challenges they had faced. "We have built something beautiful," he said to Cael. "Our unity is our greatest strength." Cael nodded, a smile on his face. "Together, we can face any challenge that comes our way." As the years passed, Goliath continued to lead with wisdom and compassion. The valley thrived, and the legacy of unity became a guiding principle for their communities. One day, as Goliath sat with the Council of Elders, he shared his vision for the future. "Let us extend our reach beyond the valley. We can share our knowledge and experience with other communities, fostering cooperation on a broader scale." The elders nodded in agreement, recognizing the importance of spreading their message of unity. "Together, we can inspire others to embrace cooperation and build a better future." With a renewed sense of purpose, Goliath and his allies set out on a new journey, seeking to share their legacy of unity with the world. They traveled to distant lands, forging connections and building alliances. As they ventured forth, Goliath felt a sense of excitement. The world was vast, and there were stories yet to be uncovered. He knew that their journey would continue, and their legacy would inspire others. In the years that followed, the message of unity spread far and wide. Goliath and his allies became known as ambassadors of cooperation, sharing their experiences and lessons learned. As Goliath grew older, he reflected on the journey they had taken. The valley had become a thriving community, and the bonds forged in adversity had created something beautiful. One day, as he gathered with the next generation, he shared stories of their struggles and triumphs. "Remember, our strength lies in our unity. Together, we can overcome any challenge that comes our way." And so, the legacy of the giants and humans continued to thrive, echoing through the ages as a testament to the power of cooperation and the enduring spirit of unity. As time passed, the stories of the giants and their journey became legends, passed down through generations. The valley remained a symbol of hope and unity, reminding all who visited of the strength that comes from cooperation. Goliath's legacy endured, inspiring countless communities to embrace unity and work together toward a brighter future. The essence of their story became woven into the fabric of history, a reminder that even in the face of adversity, love and unity could conquer all. And so the giants and humans stood together, guardians of a world where cooperation reigned, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead, united in purpose and spirit. Join us in celebrating the power of unity and cooperation. If you believe in the strength of working together to overcome challenges, like this video and share your thoughts in the comments. Subscribe to Bible Light for Life for more inspiring stories that remind us of the incredible things we can achieve when we stand together. Together, let's build a brighter future.